New Year's Eve was supposed to feel warm. Instead, it felt like standing outside my own family's window watching them celebrate without me. Hi everyone. My name is Sophie Lane, I'm 26, and that night was the moment I realized something important. Generosity means nothing in a family that feeds on hierarchy. I had spent my entire month's salary decorating the house, cooking the feast, making everything perfect. The dining table gleamed with candles and golden ribbons wrapped around every chair. The smell of roasted herbs filled the air. I even saved for gifts. A new phone for my brother and handcrafted leather boots for Dad, the kind he'd been wanting for months. They tore open their boxes with polite smiles. For a heartbeat, I thought maybe this year will be different. Then my brother leaned back and smirked. Dad told me to teach you a lesson. No gift for you. My father chuckled proudly as if he'd delivered some noble punishment. It's for your own good, Sophie. Maybe you'll learn your place. My place? Something inside me went very still. I smiled slowly. Well, I said, reaching into my purse, it's a good thing I brought one more gift. My brother frowned. For who? For both of you. When I placed the small white envelope on the table, they had no idea their lesson was about to begin. The envelope sat in the center of the table, plain white, harmless. My father narrowed his eyes. What's this supposed to be? Another one of your sentimental notes. I smiled, calm as ever. Something like that. My brother snatched it up, tearing it open with the same arrogance he used to open every door I built for him. A few folded documents slid out, crisp, stamped, official. What is this? He muttered. I took a slow sip of tea. That, I said softly, is the new ownership document for this apartment. Dad laughed. Ownership? Don't be ridiculous, Sophie. This place is in my name. It was, I corrected gently. Until you used it as collateral for the business loan I helped you secure last year. Remember the one you defaulted on? The laughter died instantly. My brother read faster, eyes widening. Wait. This says the property was transferred to the loan's guarantor. I finished for him. Me. My father's face drained of color. You signed as the guarantor? I nodded. You asked me to handle the paperwork. I did. You just never bothered to read what you signed. My brother shot to his feet, chair scraping harshly. You tricked us. No, I said, standing as well. I protected myself. Silence fell. Thick, heavy, thunderous. The kind of silence that happens when power finally shifts. For the first time in years, my father looked at me not as a daughter but as a consequence. You had no right, he finally whispered. This is my house. No, I said quietly. This was your house. You mortgaged it without reading the fine print, the one that transferred ownership to the guarantor upon default. His face flushed red. You used us. I tilted my head. You mean the way you've used me for years? To pay your bills, run your errands, cook your meals, and fund every holiday you brag about. My brother slammed his palm on the table. You're still living here under our roof. I smiled. Correction. You are living here under mine. The words landed like glass shattering across the room. Dad's voice turned cold. You think this gives you power? You'll regret this, Sophie. Family doesn't turn on family. My laugh came out soft. Dangerous. Family doesn't humiliate the one who feeds them either. But you never called that betrayal, you called it love. He opened his mouth, but I cut him off. You don't have to worry about living under my roof for long. Their eyes widened. Because as of tomorrow morning, I said calmly, you'll be getting your own eviction notice. The next morning I woke early. The air felt different, lighter. I made coffee, printed the papers, and waited. Dad shuffled into the kitchen, sour expression in place. My brother followed, eyes heavy from a sleepless night. Morning, I greeted, sliding 2 envelopes across the table. Dad frowned. What's this now? Formal notice, I said, stirring my coffee. You have 30 days to vacate the property. My brother laughed bitterly. You can't evict your own family. I met his gaze. You're right. I shouldn't have to. But after last night I realized something. Family doesn't mean submission. My father snatched the letter, scanning it. You filed this legally. Registered with the housing board this morning, I said. And before you panic, I already arranged a rental property near Uncle Henry's place. Consider it generous. He slammed the paper down. You're heartless. I stood. No. I'm just done being the family wallet. For years they'd taken from me without thanks, twisting love. But not anymore. Into obligation. That's what my life had become. But now the same girl who once begged for approval held the keys to their roof. And the freedom to say no. You wanted to teach me a lesson, I said softly. Congratulations. I learned it. Then I walked out, leaving them speechless in the kitchen. Two men who finally realized the weakest one at the table had just ended the game. By noon the family group chat was on fire. My aunt messaged first. Sophie, tell me you didn't evict your own father. Then my cousin. Everyone's saying you took the house papers behind their back. That true? I didn't bother replying. Let them gossip. They'd never seen my father mock me after every paycheck. Never watched my brother gloat over things I paid for. But the silence broke when my mother called. Sophie, she snapped. What did you do? I enforced the law, I replied. He is your father, she shouted. And I was his servant, I said calmly. There was a pause, then a quieter voice. He's embarrassed, Sophie. Everyone's talking. Good, I said. Maybe he'll finally know what humiliation tastes like. That evening, Dad came storming in with my brother behind him, fury in every step. You think paperwork gives you control? He spat. You'll regret crossing me. I stood in the doorway, blocking their path. No threats, Dad. Not here. I've changed the locks. My brother let out a cold laugh. You've really lost it. I took out a small remote and pressed it. The security alarm blinked red. Private access only. I lost my peace for years, I said softly. Now I'm reclaiming it. They stood there speechless, facing the home that was no longer theirs. And for once they were the outsiders. The following week the house was quiet, almost unnaturally so. No shouting. No guilt-tripping. No one asking for a little help until next month. But peace came with a price. Rumors spread fast. At the grocery store, old neighbors whispered, "That's the daughter who kicked her family out." I smiled politely and kept walking. Let them talk. They hadn't lived my life. Dad tried one final stunt. He called the property registrar demanding a review of ownership. They sent him the official documentation. My signature, his default clause, and the recorded approval he'd given months earlier. After that he stopped calling. My brother didn't. He sent one message late one night. You're cruel. We were supposed to be family. I typed back. Family isn't something you weaponize. You can't steal from it, mock it, and still expect loyalty. Then I blocked him. A few days later I packed their leftover things. Old photos, Dad's tools, my brother's gaming console. I dropped the boxes at a local charity, receipt and all. When I came home that evening the house felt lighter. Brighter. Like it had finally exhaled. For the first time in my life I wasn't living under someone else's power. I was living on my own terms. And that, I realized, was the best gift I had ever given myself. 3 weeks later I received a letter from my father's lawyer. One last attempt to guilt me, wrapped neatly in legal language. Your father requests a reconsideration for shared ownership in good faith. Good faith. The same man who once laughed and said I'd never be worth more than a pair of boots was now asking me for mercy. I called the lawyer directly. Tell my father, I said, that I don't negotiate with people who see family as property. He sighed, almost pitying. He won't take this well. I know, I replied. He never did when I started thinking for myself. That evening I stopped by the small rental unit they'd moved into. My father opened the door, eyes sunken, pride bruised. My brother sat behind him, scrolling his phone, pretending not to see me. Why are you here? Dad asked bitterly. To return this, I said, holding out a small velvet box. Inside was the keychain he'd given me at 16, engraved for my smart girl. He stared at it, then at me. Is this your way of saying goodbye? No, I said softly. It's my way of saying I forgive you, but I'm done being small so you can feel big. He didn't answer. He didn't have to. Because when I walked away I knew, for the first time, he understood exactly who he had underestimated. A year later I spent New Year's Eve at the same dining table. But this time it was mine alone. No shouting. No guilt. No backhanded lessons. Just peace, candles, and silence that felt like victory. The house was fully renovated now. Soft ivory walls, shelves lined with books I never had space for before. Every corner whispered something familiar. Not loneliness but freedom. On the table sat two unopened envelopes, one from my father and one from my brother. I didn't open them. I already knew what they said, regret disguised as excuses. I tucked them into a drawer beside the original ownership papers. The documents that once divided us now served as a quiet reminder. Strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes it just signs its name. Outside, fireworks burst across the night sky, washing the windows in gold and red. For a moment I remembered that night. Dad laughing, my brother mocking me, both certain I'd stay small forever. But they never understood. I wasn't built to fight for scraps. I was built to rebuild. So I raised a glass toward the window and whispered, "Here's to lessons learned. And to the girl who finally taught them." Then I took a sip, smiled to myself, and let the past fade quietly into the smoke of fireworks.